here in the grand finals in VIPL Season 2. Korea's Invincible Armada bouncing back after Game 1 to tie up the series against North America's Ardent Alliance. And I have to say, Valdez, I'm a bit disappointed in the draft because historically the best way to beat the Invincible Armada is to draft Horatio Lord Nelson, but that's not actually an option in Vainglory yet.
Yeah, maybe they'll add that into the next patch. I don't know. We got a dev stream coming eventually.
So also we need to move from the House Unfold to Trafalgar. That would actually be super effective for Ardent Alliance.
That's going to be the second map coming in. Just wait, guys. We spoiled it for you. Sorry. Thanks, Monte Cristo. But either way, this is going to be a really, really fun game for me. I mean, it's going to be nearly exactly mirrored.
Druid, the first one down to this neutral shop, though. Flash X going to get caught out and dies. Druid making a quick rotation, and looks like a bit of miscommunication there. They should have called the MIA onto Druid, and Flash X overextends and gives up that early kill.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Drew just did a better job of pushing the lane, and that's something that we see pretty consistently out of him and his team. Just much better communication here. And, oh boy, Flash X just eating a lot of damage, and the second they saw Druid, they could do nothing but run. No way they're going to win a 2-on-3 there at level 1.
Yeah, Wine picking up that first kill. It's a little bit of extra gold, but the advantage, though, actually goes over to Ardent because as we take a look, Mixi actually did stay in lane farming, but that gap will be closed very quickly as these two big minions go down in the lane. So actually nothing really happened there, and that's kind of the nature of early kills in Vainglory. There we go, a little bit slow onto Wine. Shinkaigan actually going to follow up with some sprint boots. Counter Vanguard right there. See that splash damage coming in. Mixi can't quite finish it with the forward. Nice shot, sniped by Shinkaigan. That glimmer shot. Shinkaigan is going to be going for the weapon power build, as will Wine. So no more crystal power Kestrel like we saw played earlier today in the third place match by Iraqi Zoro.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. I mean, Kestrel can really be played either way.
Oh, the ambush! Nicely done. Wine had respawned, so they were hoping just to take these back camps, but a bit of a face check there. Ooh, gotta be careful. Wine gonna be chunked out, but they still want these double backs. We're gonna take a look at that kill once again from a fancy angle.
Flash X eating a lot of the early damage, so Shinkaigan totally healthy here. Lines it up, gets that extra bit of damage from Mixi first.
Mixi just dies actually in lane. Right as we were seeing that fight unfold, Wine comes in and pushes forward with Druid, picking up that kill. And again, Mixi, we saw this in the semifinals. Early death's a really big problem for this guy. And they get the turret down to about 1/3. Mixi comes into lane, takes a bunch of minion damage, actually tanks that, and then a couple glimmer shots.
You have to take Kestrel seriously. I don't know if it's just an early hero syndrome kind of thing where players aren't used to playing against her all that much, but she's been out for like over a week, I think, or maybe over 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean,
longer.
you cannot be in that position when you've got a Kestrel right there. With the amount of damage that she does, you guys are seeing this with us right now. He also picks up a very early travel boost, which is fantastic because you need that positioning. You need to get close to land those glimmer shots.
Close. Shinkaigan now out of energy without getting the finisher. Wine, lots of energy for him. Flash X going to dodge out of the shot there from Wine, and Mixi right back to farming. Things all tied up here in terms of kills and gold.
Mining has begun.
As the gold miner will spawn, so quick shop here from Shinkaigan. And we see Wine going for a little bit more weapon power early. Getting an extra weapon blade in lieu and an O-card in lieu of the sprint boots, so slightly diverse itemization.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be hitting harder, but it's going to be much harder for him to get that position, be fast enough to catch up to the enemy to land those glimmer shots. So he's really going to be relying on his teammates to engage and then just be the back line, which is going to be interesting because they only really have Ardent for that front line.
Wow, uncontested gold mine here for Ardent Alliance. But the lane does get pushed forward, so Invincible Armada could counteract. Pretty small gold payout this early into the game. Not going to be the end of the world for Invincible Armada. Druid goes ahead, picks up his Frostburn. Mixi decides to go with some more defensive stats in that light shield early on. And Druid once again looks like he's gunning for that fast reflex block.
Yeah, and look at this. Very nice rotation out of Invincible Armada. Going to pressure this turret very hard, but it's not going to work out.
Yeah, close call too. You get chunked that low and you may eat a death here from this very fast Kestrel. Coming back around, they will flare the brush. Took a lot of chunk damage, but couldn't quite finish it off. Tried to just face tank the turret, but it does have that barrier over the top of its HP if the minions aren't there. And so it does make it quite difficult to take out this early on into the game.
That is true. Players need more items before they can really do enough damage to take out that turret alone, even with all three of them there.
Invincible Armada also sacrificed a shot maybe to get the gold miner instead. Start taking control over that objective.
Very interesting build this time around from Shinkaigan. Picks up a very quick tension bow off the back of those travel boots. All the games that we saw him play against Gangstars, I think he was going Sorrowblade into Breaking Point, just straight up the most damage, even though they are very expensive items. And of course you do have to ramp up kind of towards that mid and later game to get those very expensive items, but Tension Bow, very cheap, and you're getting a lot of damage early on. So it seems like Ardent Alliance wants to push their advantage that they've already gained for themselves by picking up a Tension Bow instead.
And they should want to fight right now, too, with this Tension Bow. So they're going to force Invincible Armada forward and then come around the backside. No Gauntlet yet. No one's hit 6, who is an Ardent player. Druid going to take a ton of chunk damage. That is not going to be a good death from above. Flash X still moving. And can Shinkaigan get the kill? No. In the meantime, though, Mixi did manage to hunt down Wine as they did a bit of divide and conquer. No ult hit from Shinkaigan. And now they're going to push forward onto this turret. Invincible Armada really tunneling on this turret kill, and it's cost them heavily.
Yeah, they're just going to give up this turret on the other side, plus a kill. And we do still have the gold mine in control here for Ardent Alliance. And once again, that really just came down to the way that team fight played out. It was Kestrel up against Sky 1v1, and I said it before, if it ever gets into that situation, the Sky is going to win early on, just due to the way that the Kestrel plays. Once you run out of Glimmer shots, you're kind of just left there auto-attacking or just running against the Sky, which is the worst thing to do.
All right, Gold Mine Steal initiate. Flash X has hit 6, however. He's the first one with the Gauntlet. Will throw it down immediately. Druid stunned on the back, but there's no follow-up yet. Mixi now joining the fight, and Ruin will fall to Shinkaigan's Kestrel with a Glimmer shot, so they lose the Gold Mine, but they will take over the enemy jungle and move the way forward. They can go for a quick retake, but actually right there, Flash X took a camp by himself, the small minion camp, to hit 6 immediately before that fight started. And that's a big power spike. And one thing that we've seen is that Ardent Alliance is very good at hitting the power spikes. Wine gets a hair away from death as Shinkaigan continues to punish him. Ultimate coming in from both Kestrels. And jeez, Shinkaigan just continues to lay down the poke damage. They can double back and go for this gold miner again right after they clean out the enemy jungle.
Yeah, Ardent Alliance really pushing that advantage. Tension Bow kind of helping, but to be honest, I don't know. I think I would have rather seen the Sorrowblade. When you're going up against another Kestrel and even the Sky, what you're going to be doing for 90% of the time is not auto-attacking, but rather poking with your Glimmer shot. So I think that raw damage would have been better. It's an interesting idea overall to pick up that Tension Bow, and it looks like he is going to go into Sorrowblade and probably Breaking Point off of the back of this. But
well, one of the advantages of Kestrel, though, is that her perk does give her a huge auto attack speed increase. So if you do get an auto range, you're going to be doing a hell of a lot of damage very quickly. So kind of I mean, I understand the Tension Bow just a little bit, and they've used the power spike well, no doubt, to come out to an early lead, but how long can they hold on to it? I think is going to be the real question. Mixi still just pushing up this lane. They're trying to get a flank in here. Flash X going to get in from the side, and Shinkaigan just much more reliable with those Glimmer shots. Will just active camo and pop right out of that fight after dealing damage to all 3.
That's the other question I had coming into this game. It's obvious that Shinkaigan is very, very practiced on this hero of Kestrel, but where is Wine? We haven't seen him play Kestrel yet. This is the first game. And, you know, the question still stands. Has he practiced this all that much? seems like he has, but maybe not to the level that Shinkaigan has.
Yeah, I'm just going to drop a defensive gauntlet right there to discourage Invincible Armada from coming in, and they will collect just a little more gold. So Ardent here, 2,500 in the lead. Both teams losing their first turret. And now Invincible Armada has to take back the gold mine as it falls under Ardent's control.
Both skies now picking up the exact same items. In fact, very, very even when it comes to items here. Nearly exact. Just Mixi with 4 extra minion kills and 1 hero kill has been able to pick up a light shield.
Yeah, but the real story is the difference between Wine and Shinkaigan. I mean, he's doubling his CS while Mixi and Druid are even. So it has been a bit of a lights out performance because Ardent has had the pressure advantage and they've been farming out the enemy jungle, constantly poking out. And like you said, Valdez, it comes down a lot to these Kestrel mechanics and what glimmer shots are going to land, because that poke damage, that upfront damage really prevents Invincible Armada from even walking into their jungle.
Yeah, I really have to shout out to SCMC. I love Kestrel as a hero. So fun to watch, just the poke that comes down. There's so much action and damage going both ways, but it's also very highly skill-based. You know, it's not easy to land 4 glimmer shots in a row and be in perfect positions. He's very squishy. You can easily be engaged on if you're slightly out of position. And this is the honor we get, you know, at the highest level. We get to watch these pro gamers who practice this hero nonstop show us a perfect performance of Kestrel. And heroes that are really well designed really showed that performance off really well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely see the skill difference between Shinkaigan and Wine on Kestrel. Not to mention that Wine still has yet to complete a tier 3 item. Meanwhile, Shinkaigan going for the Tension Bow and the Sorrow Blade right off the bat.
Yeah. I know that position of Wine where you just don't have enough for Sorrow Blade.
But you need the raw stats. You have to get something when you shop.
And it's like, well, I have 1,000 gold now, but I can't wait. We're just too far behind. We have to take some kind of fight, so I'll buy a minion's foot here. Let's see what I can do, but it ends up not being all that great. Kind of a rough spot here, to be honest, for Invincible Armada.
So, Ardent Alliance, they won game 1 in the slower pace game. That was much more similar in terms of kills, low kills early, and then they made it work by popping a bunch of infusions and then baiting a Kraken fight. Could do the same thing here once it spawns, but for now it's just all about defending that gold mine and increasing their lead as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, also take a look at what Invincible Armada is doing. They are not doing what Ardent Alliance did in the last one, and not doing what WV did in their games against Gangstars, which is pushing out and trying to engage in a disadvantageous position. They're just saying, okay, we're going to farm the lane and farm our backs, and that's it. We're going to defend that, and if you want to fight while we have a perfect position at our backs, then go ahead.
A few more glimmer shots there as they move towards the backs. No one willing to engage, and whoop, nope.
Nice try, Wine.
A lot of this game is probably going to come down to which team can use the gauntlet better. Because right now, Shinkaigan doesn't have a reflex block, and neither does Wine. So if Kestrel can be locked down on either side, it will really make a big difference. So it's Flash X and Ruin do have a lot of work to do if they want to be successful. And if somebody uses the gauntlet at the wrong time and the other team doesn't get hit by it, there's a large cooldown where we can go. Flash X is going to hop in, though. Here we go. Gauntlet number 1 will fall. Druid's going to reflex block it and try and get out. And there's Gauntlet number 2. Druid's still standing, and they're going to turn it around, maybe. No, they won't. Death from above going to land onto Mixi, but they can't quite finish off that kill. And they got nothing right there. Wine's still going to be trying to get some glimmer shots in and use his ultimate to discourage further regression on this turret. Druid now coming back with full HP. Druid doesn't have a lot of defensive stats, even though Shinkaigan pretty much out of energy. There is no pursuit.
Yeah, right before that fight went down, I was going to build off your point and say that better gauntlet is going to come out of better vision. And that was just a fantastic engage there by Ardent Alliance. They get the flare down and immediately engage with the Warhorn. Get a very nice gauntlet trapping both Druid and Ruin here. Ruin does go down. Druid unfortunately escapes, but it gives them the advantage. They're 3-2 to put on a little bit of extra pressure, steal all the jungle camps once again and just pressure and push that lead even further ahead.
Yeah, and they may not have gotten a turret off of it, but they did secure a large gold payout of 300 for each player by successfully controlling that gold miner. So definitely a huge trade advantage there for Ardent Alliance, taking advantage of a very good opportunity.
Well, look at this out of Invincible Armada. Noticing
go
Sky going back, and they're like, okay, this is our opportunity. We just have a Sorrow Blade now onto Kestrel, and Ardent Alliance has no idea.
Oh, they're going to check it, but they're going to steal it! Flash X steals the Kraken with a blood for blood. What a play from Flash X to take that Kraken away when it looked like all was lost. Wow.
Well, that's just unbelievable. That's the kind of play that wins you championships, man. Here we go.
Holy cow. Flash X just going to come in. That's a blood for blood, just dashes in. The Rome player with a massive play, and what could have been a turnaround for Invincible Armada. They found the right timing, and here comes the gauntlet. They want to start knocking down these turrets. Ruin is still stuck inside the gauntlet. Ult going to come in from Wine, but it's just not going to be enough. Ruin is going to fall. Shinkaigan going to fire off a one-shot, one kill of his own, and they keep powering through. Mixi straight into the backlines with a Suri strike, and going to zone off Druid with a Sky ult. And the Kraken is still up, and they're still pushing. They're going to keep going for it. Flash X falling low, but Shinkaigan there raining in, and there's a Vanguard just to keep Flash X alive. They get the Kraken, but that costs them 3 turrets. Ardent Alliance now with a 7K advantage off of that monumental steal.
That steal may have just secured the win here for Ardent Alliance. I mean, just one moment like that could have just secured this game for Ardent Alliance. That's just unbelievable to me. And off of the back of that push, they immediately buy a bunch of infusions and try to end the game. Unfortunately, very nice job by Wine and Ruin to just survive. That's all they needed to do. They needed to stay alive because the Kraken had already taken a lot of damage. They did lose 3 turrets, but I feel like they could have just lost from that push, and instead they keep their last hopes alive because both of those players stayed alive.
Yeah, and as impressive as that was from Flash X, this game's all about Shinkaigan. Look at the farm difference between Wine and Shinkaigan here, and all of that has to do with superior Kestrel mechanics, really, and just being able to land the more successful Glimmer shots to control the jungle. I mean, you go up in a mirror match like this, and losing can be very punishing in mirrors because that little bit of skill, when you have both the same abilities, if one person's just playing it better, there's no real recourse.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we do blind pick, because you can have these mirror matchups. It turns out that it's totally mirrored between the 3 of them.
Warhorn coming in. Flash X going to throw the gauntlet, stun up Ruin immediately. They want the win. Death from above now raining down from Druid, but they keep on moving. Scout traps have been laid up around this last turret. There's a snipe coming in, not going to hit from Shinkaigan, but they want this turret. Mixi lands a stun onto Druid. Druid just going to reflex block him, not going to fall as he gets back into his fountain. Mixi falling low. They're going to have to back out right here. Mixi going to die, and they may turn this around. Shinkaigan falls. Flash X, the only one left up. Druid going to corner him and get his ult down. Flash X just buying time, running into the enemy base. He doesn't want this to be the end of the game, perhaps. And there's 25 seconds that Invincible Armada has to work with off of that ace, but nice movement into the enemy base by Flash X to just get them a little bit of something to work with. Invincible Armada coming right back, takes a bunch of gold back off of those kills, and now they have a minion wave with the ace buff on these turrets.
Yeah, unfortunately, because the fight was all the way back in their base, they can't use these very long death timers to get all that much. But this, to be honest, gets them right back in the game. We were talking about that bounty system once again. Think about the bonuses. Look at the gold right here for a second. 8,000 gold. Now take 8% of that, and that's how much the first person that gets the kill. It's all going to Wine, and then on to Wine again. So now he immediately becomes even in farm to Shinkaigan here.
Well, and that is... that really was a mistake by Mixi. I mean, if you're going to Suri strike forward like that, if someone is retreating and trying to kite you, you will not, almost never hit a Suri strike. That's not how the ability works. So to move right next to the fountain where they were healing and then miss that Suri strike, I think was the worst part of that engagement there from Ardent Alliance. Had a chance to play a little bit more passively or just back out after not securing a kill with that gauntlet run.
Yeah.
But big overcommitment, and you can't do that at this point in the game because now Invincible Armada only 3K behind.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. A big overcommitment to that fight. Once they didn't get any kill, I think it should have been do a bit of damage to the turret, maybe take it out, and then back off. Because you cannot afford to lose a fight in that position. That's the reason that Gangstars played it so safe in game number 2 against WV after taking out that first Vein Crystal turret. You just cannot die. You cannot get ace there. You're giving way too much gold to the enemy team. And now this game is anyone's game. It really just comes down to the next fight.
Oh, Wine takes a huge chunk from Shinkaigan's ultimate. Here we go again. Gauntlet thrown by both Ardens. And now we see Wine on the backside. Does get targeted. Invincible Armada is going to back out. Shinkaigan once again hitting a clutch ability with Kestrel. They're going to double back and get the Kraken now if they can. Invincible Armada, can they get a steal like we saw from Arden Alliance? Flash X coming up big.
Well, they need one. They need a steal here, or that's going to be it.
And we have the active camo in the brush, so there can be a stun. Stun gonna hit onto Druid. They're gonna turn this fight right now. Can they finish it off? Ruin will fall. Capture going through. Who's gonna get it? It will be Druid! Druid steals the Kraken, but he's nearly dead. He's trying to kite this one out as best as he can. He is going to fall eventually, and that'll be an ace, but now they have to deal with the Kraken in what has been an unbelievable game of Vainglory.
This is just out of control. We're going to see Wine respawn here, but I don't know if he can stop all 3 of these members. The unbelievable steal from Druid, but he's going to pay for it.
He is going to pay for it. I think this will be the end of the game no matter what. After the ace, Arden Alliance is at full HP. Wine has to be the hero right now, and he's not going to be. That's going to be it. Arden Alliance is going to win the VIPL Season 2, 2-1.
Oh boy, man, that was just a series of